Before we get right into this review, I just want to make one thing clear. This review will not have any major spoilers to the story or the characters that are involved in the story or any major plot points to be exact. I will be covering, however, small key moments in the stories, like basically the beginning aspects of the stories. So if you don't want to hear any of that, definitely turn away. But if you don't mind hearing the basic story that you'll learn in like the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of playing the game anyway, then stick along or look in the timestamps below and skip forward to my rating of the game. So let's get into this. Twin Mirror is a psychological mystery genre type of game. And even though these games have never been the popular games when they come out, like action and adventure or games like LA Noire type mystery games, these games are very popular. You might have played one of them in the past, like Detroit Become Human or Life is Strange, or even Heavy Rain. These games have been around for a while, and if you're a fan of Life is Strange and kind of the style and genre of that type of game, you'll definitely enjoy this game because the same people who made that game made Twin Mirrors. So basically, in the game, you follow Sam, a former employee of a journalistic company that's based out of a small town in West Virginia called Basswood. And Basswood is the stereotypical American small town. With the crumbling uses of coal and the opioid epidemic, you can tell that this town has hit some really hard times. And you see it a lot, especially when you're out in public and you're in the outdoor wilderness type of areas. You have rundown roads, you have everything looks gray, you have vines creeping up buildings and the occasional graffiti, and it looks like every little aspect of this town has a secret that's waiting to be discovered, and that's the beauty of this game. You really get involved and engaged into it, and it really does feel like you're living in a town that was hit really hard when the United States eventually decided to stop using coal, and it's a sad reality that a lot of people have to face in real life. So, like I said before, you follow Sam, and he was a journalist that sadly, but also rightfully so, led to the closing down of the coal mine. And basically, you find out that the coal mine was doing some really shady stuff. They weren't following regulations. And other than that, I can't really get into the story because I'll spoil too much of it. But I gotta tell you, if you really are considering getting this game and you've probably watched a review for it or you just stumbled across this video, try to go into this game with little to no knowledge whatsoever on the main story, because that's really where you shine. I can't stress how much happy I was not knowing the major plot points and the major, plot twists and characters' involvements and stuff like that, because if I would have known it going in, I definitely would have been like, wow, that was so predictable looking back on it. And so not knowing what you're getting into is kind of the beauty of these games. So that's why I'm not really going to cover the story aspect of it, even though it is a very enjoyable story in the long run. So one of my favorite aspects of this game is the mind castle, or the kind of astral realm that your character creates. And in this realm, this is basically where the investigative detective work that you saw in Detroit Become Human, when you could play back the situations and scenarios after you've collected all the clue, kind of happens. You can reconstruct environments, and after you collect enough clues, you can see a visual representation of what actually happened. You see it pretty early on in the game, and as the game kind of goes on, you see it further and further. I kind of wish we got to experience a little bit more of it throughout the game, but the times that you do experience it, it's definitely worthwhile. Yes, at times it's obviously very predictable about what's going to happen, but at the same time, it's still hella fun to play and mess around with. And even though you know what's generally going to be the idea that they want you to go down, definitely explore the other options that are given to you, because the more clues you find and the more people you talk to, the more options you have in those little astral realm mind castle places. And it's great. And that's another thing. In this game, you have decisions that you need to make when you're talking to people. You have dialogue choices. And like I said before, Sam is a journalist, so at times he can feel very detached and very cold, which definitely gets him in trouble. And in the journalism world, that definitely is the right approach, but in this town, that kind of gets him in trouble, and people kind of look at him as he's like a dick, and they don't really want to mess with him. But when you do find the person who has that little piece of information that is going to get you that extra little step into the story, make sure you choose the right answer, because there are countless times where you can have a character like you in one moment and then you choose the wrong answer or you choose the wrong option. Even though none of it is actually wrong in the grand scheme of things, you can shut down a whole dialogue tree in that moment. So your decisions actually matter. And shout out to the writers of this game, because there were multiple times when I was playing it where I accidentally clicked the X button instead of the circle button, and I was sitting there like, damn, should I have clicked circle after I heard the dialogue that preceded it? And that's a really good thing, especially in games where you have choices and dialogues. And there are very important moments in this game. Very on, when you arrive into the town, there's one of these moments. You can choose whether or not you want to tell the little girl that you decided if you were going to investigate what she asked you to do, versus if you're not going to tell her that you're going to investigate it. These moments have very unique and distinctive graphics around them, if you can say. I mean, you'll see it on the screen right now, but pay attention to these moments, because these moments especially are more important than almost all the other moments. Trust me, pay attention to this. This game definitely lacks in some areas, because like I said before, these people who developed this game also developed Life is Strange, and also are kind of drawing inspiration from games like Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain. And where they definitely do lack, and I can't even lie, is in facial recognition / how they captured the face, because at times when they're talking in the game, it literally just looks like the person in front of you is just opening and closing their mouth, not like they're actually saying words. And the second thing is when you're investigating clues. Detroit Become Human did it perfectly. When you're doing the investigation and you're moving around and you're trying to figure out what happened here and what exactly took place in this moment, you can definitely tell what's going on. And you can definitely see like, oh, that's what happened. In this game, there are times where I personally felt like it was a little bit harder to find clues, because they're not really like outlined, or you have to get really close to them to really find them. And that's really the only problem in that structure. But since they're already drawing a lot of inspirations from games like Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, where investigation is very key, you could have easily just implemented kind of not the same, but very similar styles of investigation and clue tactics that those games had. And those are the only real two big problems, in my opinion. The characters all feel realistic, and your decisions actually matter, like I said before. And if you're really curious about how a character thinks about you, or what they think you're up to, or kind of how they feel about you, you can look in the settings, and they provide you with kind of like a step-by-step analyzing of what you said, how that made them feel, and kind of like how that made you feel when they reacted a certain way. And it's a nice touch if you're really into that. Me personally, I could care less about that. And hey, that is the beauty of this game, because every person really does feel like a unique person. And I can't stress this enough. Your decisions and choices actually matter. And hey, if you're interested in checking out this game or buying it, I would definitely do it. I would just pull the gun. This game is fun. It's not perfect. It's not a masterpiece by any means of the words. There are definitely things that they can improve, and there are definitely things that they could do a little bit better or tone down a little bit more. But in the areas that they did hit it, they hit it correctly. And I got to give this game 5 being average, 10 being perfect, and 1 being absolute garbage, stay away. I have to give this game a 6. And the reason why I gave it a 6 is because it's slightly above average. It's playable, but at the same time, it's not a game where you're going to be like, oh my God, they remastered it, let me go buy it, like how Heavy Rain was and how eventually Detroit Become Human will be. And hey, this game definitely has an audience, and if you're in that audience, you'll 100% enjoy it, because I am in that target audience of psychological mystery games that this game caters to. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to pick it up. But if you like games like Detroit Become Human and you like games like Life is Strange, I guarantee you'll at least enjoy this game, maybe even more than I did. So definitely check it out. It'll most likely be on sale anytime soon, or it'll probably even be free like in a couple months anyway. So keep your eye open for this game. If you catch a deal for it, definitely check it out. It's available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and on the PC. So, if you got a couple bucks lying around and you want to play a game real quick, this is definitely the game that I would recommend. I love you, beautiful peoples. I can't believe that you guys crushed the last video that I posted. I greatly appreciate that. If you like this one, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and tell me what I did wrong, because at the end of the day, I really want to get better at this, and I've been really enjoying making these review videos, and I really just have to say thank you for making me feel a little less bad about spending so much money on video games, because now I have a small reason to do so. I love your beautiful faces. Remember, give me some feedback, positive, negative. I don't mind as long as it's constructive. I love you all. Bye.